Today, I'm going to show you 5 fantastic cocktails made with passion fruit puree that I believe deserve way more love. But as it's Pornstar Martini Day coming up on the 6th of September, it's only right that we use that cocktail. After all, it is the most famous cocktail with passion fruit puree, but it's only right we use that cocktail to rate these other 5 cocktails again. Now, the puree we're going to be using in this video, Boiron. It is, for my money, the best tasting, the best passion fruit, the best purees, in fact, out there on the market. But if you're new around these parts, let me tell you why I swapped from Funkin over to Boiron in January this year. Now, before we go any further, this video is sponsored by my good self. To help you on your cocktail journey, I've got a free PDF ebook where I show you how to riff up 10 of my favorite cocktails. All 10 of those I was quite happy to put on any single cocktail menu. And secondly, I've also created my bartender playbook, something that I wish I had when I first started bartending some 30 years ago. It's full of even more recipes, guides, brand knowledge, courses, you name it, I'm updating it every single week. So to get involved in both of those, there'll be a link in the description, a link in the pinned comment, or you can scan that QR code that's on screen right now. Now, as bartenders, I think we all know that Funkin has pretty much been the benchmark for the last 20 years or so. I think it is 20 years, I think, for the passion fruit in 2025. It's been pretty much the industry standard. It's been the best that we can get. The only issue with Funkin now is that there is now better, but I can back this up with facts. Now, of course, taste is always going to be subjective. What I might like, you might hate. You might prefer something that I don't. But for me, yes, it is a better product. But the facts behind this, Funkin, we've always known. We all class it as 100% proper passion fruit puree. But the fact is, it's not. It's 90% puree with 10% sugar. As I say, it's been the benchmark. Even other puree brands sometimes struggle to hit 90%. There's a couple out there at 80% with 20% sugar. They've kind of used that 10% or 20% in some case as the stabilizer. Okay, it's long life and shelf stable, and once opened, it'll go off. The same as Boiron. The difference being with Boiron, they've invested millions of pounds into their pasteurization techniques, so they don't need to add the sugars and stuff to stabilize it. So in this carton, it's just 100% proper passion fruit puree. No added ingredients, no colors, no stabilizers, nothing. Yes, once opened, you're going to have to use it in like 10, 12 days, but it's no different to Funkin. Now, secondly, this is one for all you bartenders, bars, hotels, restaurants, and all that. I'm going to get onto price here very, very soon, and for you guys at home as well, because there's a couple of things to look at here when it comes to price. On unit price, the Boiron is cheaper. It drinks stuff, it's £2, maybe £3 cheaper than a carton of, or a sort of pouch of Funkin. But if you look at it slightly more or slightly deeper than that, you will actually realise that it is considerably cheaper than that, because the main difference between them, something that gets missed quite a lot. The Boiron is a litre. So a litre is measured in mil. So we know we have got 1,000 mil to play with in there. Whereas Funkin has always cleverly been labelled as kilograms. Now, with their juices, like their lemon and lime juice, for instance, in the pouches, Funkin is going to be as near as, damn it, 1,000 mil, because 1 mil of water, for example, is essentially 1 gram. All right? When you get to slightly heavier products like mango puree, passion fruit puree, strawberry puree, all of a sudden that kilo doesn't translate into a litre. So what you actually get out of usable of this is sometimes in the regions, it fluctuates. Sometimes I've got 850 mil out of it. Sometimes I've got 870 mil. Another day I've got 820 mil out of a carton of these. So I would say on average, you're looking at about 850 mil. So when you're looking at that, not only is this carton cheaper, you're also getting on average an extra 150 mil to play with. Now, if you're using 20 mil in cocktails, you can easily work out that's 7, maybe 8 extra cocktails you're getting out of that compared to that. And then the final reason I've already mentioned, it just tastes better. It's fresher, it's zingier, it's more vibrant. You don't have this kind of, I call it like this cooked taste, because that's how pasteurization works. You know, pasteurization is essentially cooking at ultra high temperatures to get rid of all the bacteria. And that's when, say, when Boiron have invested millions in this, it's flash pasteurization, which means it's not cooked for anywhere near the length of time that this is. So it doesn't lose any of that nice, bright, yellowy orange color. This is somewhat dull and muted. So if you don't believe me, it's cheap enough. Just buy a carton and have a little blind tasting yourself. But anyway, let's crack on with these cocktails, starting with the Pornstar Martini. But make sure you stay tuned for the 5th cocktail, because it's not a typical passion fruit cocktail, but I really think it should be. So I think if I'm going to do this video any justice, I'm going to have to make the best possible drinks that I can. There's no point making like 8s out of 10s when it comes to the Pornstar Martini. This is what I'm getting at. I'm going for the 10 out of 10, how I would make it if I was here. Now, the point of me saying this is a slightly different recipe to what I would rock out on cocktail masterclasses. But at the end of the day, cocktail masterclasses, I have to be a little bit more fun, include some stories in there as well. But if I was making this in a bar where I was just making money from it, this is the recipe that I would use. So first things first, I would upgrade my vanilla vodka. I've said this time and time again when it comes to the Pornstar. Look, if you're only willing to spend less than £20 on a bottle of vanilla vodka, you ain't going to taste too much difference between the core brands, whether it's Smirnoff, whether it's JJ Whitley, whether it's Absolute. Remember, Absolute has made the vanilla vodka weaker. In my opinion, they've added more sugar, so they're all pretty much of the much. Yeah. When you start to spend a little bit more on your vanilla vodka, so all of a sudden you're getting a better base vodka that doesn't have that sort of harshness when you taste it neat, but all of a sudden you're getting better, more authentic ingredients. Case in point, vanilla. You know, there is a better vanilla in a Dutch Barn vanilla vodka than what there is in the JJ, in the Absolute. Okay, so look, yes, I know this is 10, 12, 14, 15 pounds more expensive a bottle, but when it's tasting and you're actually selling it, it is worth it in my opinion. So for this, I am going full whack. I'm going for 60 ml, there we go, 60 ml double bubble of vanilla vodka. Now this is where the kind of arguments come in, because if you have, I'm talking about your sugars now, if you have a better vanilla vodka, then the argument is you don't need a vanilla syrup. You can use a plain sugar. I'm still undecided of where I sit on that argument. I am actually going to use vanilla vodka in it, vanilla syrup in this. But I know a lot of people that would use that with plain sugar and just let that do the work. But for me, the Pornstar Martini is a vanilla and passion fruit cocktail. You do need sweetness in there if you're using like Funkin or Boiron puree or something like that. So for my mind, why not amp the vanilla in this? Is it going to detract from using a more expensive vanilla vodka? I don't think so. I need to do experiments, like proper out and out experiments on that. But for me, it's all about the end taste, and this does taste absolutely incredible. So I'm going for, I'm just going slightly under, 10 ml I'm going for. Then I've got my Boiron lime juice here. I'm going for 30 ml of lime juice. And then of course, this is where the passion fruit puree comes out. In cocktail masterclasses, I do this slightly different. In cocktails coming up, I'm going to be using about 20 ml, but for the Pornstar Martini, I'm going to be upping that slightly, and I do actually use 30 ml, 1 ounce. Now, if you've been on a cocktail masterclass, you know the big difference there is that I haven't actually used any Passoa or passion fruit liqueur. I do have Giffard's up there somewhere, passion, oh, it's right there in the middle, passion fruit liqueur that I could use. I just wanted to keep this as clean and as, you know, simple and easy as possible. All right. I think the 4 ingredients really work, but we'll give it a shake and we'll have a little taste test. Then to serve this up, the glass I'm using this time, again from Artist, is the Back to the 20s range, and this is the Hemingway Special. It's about 8 3/4 ounces. Then to garnish, I've got a dried passion fruit from Frona. That is goddamn delicious, absolutely delicious. Incredibly vanilla-y forward. Lovely, beautiful, soft, vibrant, zingy passion fruit. It does what it says on the tin. There is a reason, it's not the name, but there is a reason why this cocktail is so popular. It's just because when it's made that well, it just tastes absolutely fantastic. And I think the point to note here, this is another reason for Boiron. Look at that white froth. Hopefully the close-up's going to pick this up. And if I go even closer there, let's go that way. Should be able to see that there. But the Boiron puree, because there is nothing else in it, just gives you that lovely, beautiful foam. I haven't used foamers up there. You know, they've not gone into the cocktail. That is just pure 100% shaking, proper shaking with those ingredients. And the end result is stunning. It tastes fantastic. Is the benchmark for all passion fruit cocktails. But I've got 5 coming out for you now. How do they fare compared to this? Let's find out. So for the first non-Pornstar Martini passion fruit cocktail, I think I wouldn't be fair to myself if I didn't do the daiquiri. But here's the point. Whenever I do purees in daiquiris, I actually make them caipirinha style. For me, the daiquiri is all about light, clean, crisp, bright. If I serve that up in like a Nick and Nora glass, the puree would be a little bit thicker for me, or too thick for that. However, I've got no aversion to that with ice and served up the way a caipirinha would be. It's just in my head. So yes, while I would typically think of this as a passion fruit daiquiri, it's actually going to be a passion fruit caipirinha. Or in this case, because I'm using the Stella rum, 4-rum blend, it's actually going to be a passion fruit caipirinha. So I'm going to do this the nice and easy, quick way for you. I'm going to serve this, make it and serve it straight in the glass. And probably in a video in a couple of weeks' time. I've already filmed it, but I do it a slightly different way just to demonstrate the point. But I'm making it straight in the glass for this one. So this is the only time I thought I'd film this while I filmed a video like 4 weeks in advance, because it's the only time I've got limes in the house. All right, I knew I was going to have to get a lime for this video. And I thought, well, let's just do that at the same time. So otherwise I'd be using lime juice. I very rarely got limes these days, even for cocktail masterclasses. So for the caipirinha, you essentially want 3/4 of a lime, cut into quarters and then cubed. You keep that to one side. The story goes, if you're making, is it 4 or 3, whatever the maths are now. If you've made 3, you've got enough lime there to make a 4th one without diving into a 4th lime. And I'm going to whack out my simple syrup. As always, this is adjust the taste. For me, this would be roughly about 15 to 20 ml. But if you want slightly more sugar, add more sugar. Bearing in mind you have got passion fruit coming in there that's going to be a little bit tartar, so you need to balance this up. In a normal cocktail, normal caipirinha, I'd probably do 15 ml of simple, but because I've got passion fruit with that, just that extra bit of tartness, remember it's not a syrup, so there's no sweetness in the passion fruit puree, then I'm just going to up this slightly. So I am going for 20 ml of simple. And then take my muddler, and it's really important that you use a toughened glass for this, hence the Modern America glass here from Artis. This is a double old-fashioned 12¾ I think it is. Anyway, muddler, muddle those limes down. You're going to get all that juice out, but all that, more importantly, that flavour out of the zest as well. Then I'm going for my booze, as I pointed out a minute ago. Stella 4-rum blend, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Swaziland reunions, like a touch of agricole funkiness to it, but it's also in unaged rum. It was a heart of it, so fantastic rum. 45 ml I'm going for, 1.5 ounces, but if you want to add a bit more, go for it. And then 20 ml of my Boiron passion fruit puree. Cool thing about these glasses, the shaker just fits nicely on top, creates a perfect seal, and it's toughened so I can shake straight in the glass. Dump that straight back in. Crown ideally with more crushed ice. And to garnish, you've got another dried passion fruit from Frona. Now this is a really tough call for me, comparing that to a Pornstar Martini. I love the Pornstar Martini. Of course I do. I'm not ashamed to say that. I flipping love it. But I'm a rum daiquiri merchant, and that is just delicious. Oh, it's so good. I don't think I could pick one or the other. I mean, it's very similar cocktails. You're swapping the white rum for vanilla. You're swapping the simple sugar for vanilla syrup. And that's essentially it at the end of the day. So you've got this vanilla-ness in a Pornstar, whereas you've just got your rum and your sugar in here. It definitely deserves to be on your radar 100%. And if it goes on a cocktail menu, if people try it, they're going to buy it time and time again. So in that respect, yes, it definitely deserves more love. Now, you could argue the second cocktail is almost identical to the Daiquiri or the caipirinha that I've just made. It's the Margarita. I'm going to serve it up Tommy style because I want a touch of agave in there. But, you know, essentially all you're really doing is swapping tequila for your rum. So you've got a little bit of sort of agave bite there. But you're also adding in like an orange liqueur in this respect. So going straight into the shaker. I've not really rocked these out yet. But Tequila 38 from the Beverage Merchants. I might try and flash a picture up on screen, but I use their creams in cocktail masterclasses. Hen parties absolutely love the creams. Chocolate, coconut, espresso, strawberry and mango. They go crazy over them. They're really good. But these are the base tequilas for this. So for this, I'm going for 60 ml double bubble, 2 ounces of Reposado Tequila 38. After a year's hiatus, we are back to Fortunella. Admittedly, I kind of forgot about it a little bit, but working with sort of JBE Imports and the Beverage Merchants, Fortunella is one of their brands. It's kumquat. It's a kumquat style orange liqueur. It's really, really good. So I'm going to swap, instead of the orange curacao, we're going for this kumquat. I'm going for 15 ml, half an ounce. It smells absolutely incredible. I loved it. I do really, really love this stuff. Why I forgot about it, I don't know. Let's get the passion fruit puree in here, 20 ml, and 30 ml, 1 ounce of our Boiron lime juice. Now, as I said, I'm serving this up Tommy style, and what that essentially means is 2 things. 1, served over ice in double old-fashioned rocks glass. Secondly, the addition of a sweetener, typically agave. Now, you'll see this is called something really bizarre from Bristol, no agave. I like what they tried to do here. It's really cool. So there was, if we're in 2025 now, I think it was 2024, maybe 2023. I forget. Our times have just, I've got no comprehension of time these days, ever since the old pandemic. But there was like a tequila shortage, an agave shortage. So basically the idea, I think it was probably 24, the idea of this came, like, can they mimic an agave flavour without actually using agave, essentially, so there was more agave plants for tequila. That's the whole, because there are a lot of agave syrups and there's a market for them, of course there is. But so that's their whole philosophy for this. So I do kind of like that a little bit. Right, we are going for 10 ml of Bristol's no agave. Then glass choice this time. This is from Artis again. This is a Royal Leerdown, but it's a Splendor double old fashioned. And garnish wise, got a dried passion fruit from Verona, dried green lemon, and then why not? I've got some chili. Stay tuned because we're going to do a little chili experiment in a second. That was really good. As far as margaritas go, you know, you don't lose that tequila bites. You've got that orange liqueur that comes through there, that sort of kumquat, the Fortunella. It's just a passion fruit variant of it. It's really good. If you love your tequila and you get that sort of tequila-y bite in there, which you don't from the caipirinha, if you love that, then you're really going to love this cocktail. Now, does this work as a spicy margarita? Spicy passion fruit. Spicy mango is the big one. Does this work as spicy passion fruit? There we go. There's Miss Betty's Capsicist. I think it's actually 7 types of chili in here, but they tell you 4. So we are going to start off with, not that much, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to start off with 7 drops in there. The cool thing with bitters, instead of muddling down a chili or a jalapeno or something, is that you can always adjust your chili to taste. You can add more bitters, you can add less bitters. And that's why I always prefer them. I always take these sort of out for cocktail masterclasses. It's just really easy. They can make the cocktail, they can make a margarita, and then so they can taste the proper one, and then they can make it spicy afterwards without having to do anything else to the cocktail. So 7 drops, is that enough to make it spicy? Yeah, it's mad. I think these things should cover their health rating. I'm actually going to go slightly up on that though, but that's nice. I'm not a hot curry person at all. You know, I'm quite happy on my, sort of, we're talking like curries, but I'm quite happy with a Balti or something like that. Not Madras, not Vindaloo, nothing like that. So that's about my level of spice. So I'm going to add another 3. Well, let's go 4. Well, actually, might as well make it 12 then, mightn't we? So there we go. We've added, what, 5. So I think it was 7 originally. So we're up to 12 drops now. Oh, that is a beautiful heat. Oh, 12 drops. Oh, spicy passion fruit, Tommy's Margarita. Oh, that's good. Oh, the heat is coming a little bit now. Oh, 12 drops. That is quite a bonkers product. I personally wouldn't go any more than that. But that's still, it's very, very drinkable. All right, very drinkable. That's not overpowering. Some of you are going to want 20 drops. All right, but I think 12 for me in there. That is, for me, is better than the plain passion fruit margarita. I like the spicy version. Now, passion fruit cocktail number 3 is for all you gin lovers, and it's the Collins. Okay, and I'm sort of, in one hand, I'm going to make this slightly complicated. In the other hand, very, very easy, but all will be explained. I am going to shake the cocktail, but I don't think you really do need to shake the cocktail. But I typically always shake anything that I've got juice and puree in. So that's just me. All right. So for the gin, we've just got this Dublin dry bit of good old Irish gin here. Halfpenny, named after the Liffey Bridge. So Halfpenny, I think is what the locals call it. If you're Irish, let me know. But I think that's the story. Correct. So we're just going for your favourite gin. But this is essentially kind of like a classic Juniper Forward London Dry sort of thing from Dublin. We're going for 60ml double bubble. Going for 20ml of Boiron's passion fruit puree. Now, the complicated bit for this is just purely in the sugar syrup that I have selected here. And this is Bristol's Yuzu Sherbet. Unless you're in the UK, very easy to get in the UK. Drink Stuff sell it now. Will do soon. Not quite sure when this video goes out. But around the world, look, sherbets are essentially like high citric kind of notes. So you get this like sherbety kind of taste to it. You kind of know what sherbet is, of course you do. And then yuzu's obviously is Japanese. So Japanese citrus fruit. So I'm just going for that. Look, the Collins is typically gin, lemon, sugar, soda. So it's like one of those templates you can play about and just riff about. So I'm just going for 15ml. You will see me taste this probably in a video in a couple of weeks. So I'm not going to do it here and spoil the surprise. But you'll see my little eyes go, oh, I like that. But it's beautiful syrup. Now we're just going to give it a quick shake. And you might be thinking, hang on, there's no lemon juice in here. I said I was going to make it complicated, but also a little bit easier. So, all right, watch your space. Hang on. Now, the glass I'm using to serve this up is from Artis again, obviously, and it's the back highball glass. Now, the cool thing, when you've got mixers like this from Fever Tree, Sicilian lemonade, you can actually negate the lemon juice in certain cocktails, especially highball cocktails, because you've got the fizziness here. And this is kind of what I like to do. It's also kind of like a fun way to do different daiquiris and also long daiquiris and that sort of stuff. So we're just going to combine the cocktail. I filled the glass up too much with ice, but with the Fever Tree lemonade. And to garnish, another couple of sprigs of mint and a passion fruit from Frona. If you love your gin, you're going to absolutely like demolish that. The Sicilian lemonade from Fever Tree, it's not a sweet soda at all. It's beautifully balanced. What I love about that, and I know unless you go out specifically and buy it and have another use cases for it, yuzu might not be on your radar, but I'm just here for inspiration, just to kind of show you, would a simple sugar syrup work in there? Yes, of course it would. But the thing I love about the yuzu in that sherbet, that just kind of gives you that elevated kind of, you know, my eyes are sort of curling up just very slightly, and the saliva, you know, is just, oh, you know the sensation when you have sherbet. It's that. And it's just a delicious, delicious drink. If you serve that up to someone, they wouldn't kind of understand what was going on. It's passion fruit. Yes, it's gin. You don't mistake the gin. You've got this lemony sort of fizz going on. You don't mistake that. But it's then you know, why am I salivating? What's going on there? And it's that sherbet. And I just love little tricks like that in drinks. Right, cocktail 4, I'm going back to my rum roots. We're going to do the Hurricane, kind of traditionalist, but just with a couple of little tweaks in there. So first things first, let's go for the rum. Now, you should be, if you're not, because this video might surface up in search, so you might not be okay with this. I have got another series of videos on my channel which it kind of explains what alchemy is. Alchemy is not rum. It can't legally be called rum, but it is a sugar beet spirit. Right here where I am in the UK, I'm surrounded by sugar beet fields. We've got a sugar beet factory like less than 30 minutes away from me, and the distillery Alchemy is literally a couple of miles from that. So very, very low food miles. The big difference between rum and sugar beet, obviously sugar beet spirit, rum has to come from sugar cane, whereas this obviously comes from sugar beet. But most rums obviously come from molasses, which is the byproduct of making sugar from sugar cane. This also comes from molasses, it's just a byproduct of sugar beet. But as I say, can't legally be called rum. So watch the other series. It's like making rum cocktails and swapping in alchemy to see how it fares. But for this, for the Hurricane, I'm going for 60ml double bubble of my alchemy. I just call it the OG. 20ml of our Boiron passion fruit puree. I'm actually going to use lime juice in this instead of traditional lemon juice. Doesn't really matter. I personally prefer a little bit of both, actually, lemon and lime juice, but we're just going lime juice here. And I'm going for 20ml to match the puree. So far we're pretty much standard, but this is where we're going off piece slightly, because Hurricanes in a traditional sense would be fashionola syrup, so like a red berry fruit syrup with passion fruit in it. So that's typically what you're getting. I'm going to kind of come at that from two different angles. I've already got my passion fruit, obviously. Again, the raspberry shrub will come out in another video that I actually filmed last week, but might not come out for, I don't know how the videos will fall, but come out a week after this one. Essentially shrubs, just to give you the bare basics, shrubs are the art of adding like vinegar to a syrup or liqueur, just to give it that acidity and that tartness. Don't think you're going to be tasting vinegar, but it just elevates flavors. Really, really good. So stay tuned for that video. I'm going for 10ml of this raspberry shrub, and then I'm going to complement it with Bristol's Disco Grenadine. Actual proper pomegranate in there, but also their amazing, fantastic raspberry syrup in there to complement it. So, okay, we've got a, like, grenadine should be pomegranate juice. You know, that's all pomegranate molasses. That's what grenadine is. But, you know, in a lot of syrups here in the UK, especially kind of like red fruits, like raspberry, berries, whatever. So I think this is the nod to disco. All right. So again, another 10ml of Disco Grenadine. And to serve it up, I really like this glass. Back to the 20s range from Artist, and this is their Tequila Sunrise glass. Crown with more crushed ice. Then I've actually got some pineapple fronds left over from the weekend and another dried passion fruit from Frona. That is so good. The raspberry notes that just come through there alongside that passion fruit. Oh, that's good. You get this, and it's that shrub, because you've got that little bit of vinegariness coming through there, it just elevates it. And that just sings. I'm not sure a whole 20ml of the raspberry shrub would have worked. You could have quite easily subbed the grenadine, the Disco Grenadine, for an all-out sort of raspberry syrup that Bristol also do as well, or other syrup brands, whatever. But I kind of like going split. I like that shrub. I like that vinegariness that just comes through there. The passion fruit is beautiful in there. The rum is beautiful. Sorry, the sugar beet spirit is beautiful in there. Such a simple cocktail. It's one of these things where the flavors just harmoniously come together. There's nothing, probably the top note is the raspberry, but you definitely get the rum, you definitely get the citrus, you definitely get the passion fruit. Yeah, delicious. Could be my favorite. Well, I don't know, caipirinha. Oh, I don't know, Pornstar. Oh yeah, that was a bold statement, wasn't it? But I really like this. And then for your fifth and final passion fruit cocktail, this is the one I said at the top. You wouldn't necessarily think of it as a passion fruit cocktail, but arguably should be. I've tried this once and I was like, wow, that is actually really, really good. This is a whiskey sour, but a passion fruit whiskey sour. Now, long-term regular viewers will know that I'm probably not the best person to talk to about whiskey. I'm getting there very, very slowly. It's never sort of on my, I keep wanting to get into it, but then I get other projects like rum-based projects. I'm like, I don't know. However, like working a little bit now, you know, you see all this in the description, working a little bit now with the beverage merchants. You've got access to a few of these other different sort of spirits, halfpenny being one of them. And they've got a range of Irish whiskies. This is the lowest, if that's even the right word, the cheapest one of their Irish spirits. And I tasted it and I was like, actually, I really, really like that. Now, I didn't taste any of their other ranges, but this is probably the one that you'd go for in cocktails. I've got a long, long way to go in my whiskey journey before I can sort of be any authority in this. I've never, in 30 years of bartending, I've never really had the need to get into whiskey. It's just how it is. But this I really, really like, and other Irish whiskies. It's kind of that Irish whiskies and bourbons. I still haven't found a Scotch that I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that. But you know, Irish and bourbon is kind of where I'm at. So, full on sour, Irish whiskey sour, if you like, 60 ml. US double bubble of this, 20 ml of my Boiron passion fruit puree, rocking out the Demerara syrup this time, and I'm going for 15 ml of that, Bristol's Demerara, 20 ml of Boiron's lemon juice. I have got lemon juice here. I just prefer hurricanes with lime juice, or the I could have used both, but it's here anyway. So 20 ml of lemon juice. Say this so frequently when I'm talking about the bitters, aromatic bitters. Angostura are just a brand of aromatic bitters, okay? So my advice to all of you is like, Angostura, they're really, really good. We cannot deny that. But just venture out and try different or other different aromatic bitters. I love Miss Better's bitters, aromatic. Peychaud's are aromatic bitters. Fee Brothers have their own aromatic bitters. There's so many aromatic bitters out there. It's just a collection of herbs and spices in different ratios, in different bottles. Okay, so find the ones that you really, really like. But for me, it is, oh, there we go. It is Miss Better's bitters, and I'm going for a whole pipette like that. And then as I do like hen parties, and I often encounter like pregnant hens, we've got non-alcoholic amarettos for amaretto sour, to be fair. But all, you know, pregnant non-drinkers, and never use egg white. So it's always a vegan alternative, whether it's Og's Aquafaba or in this case, Miss Better's foamers. So for this, just about 12 drops. And then do you know what? Last minute swerve. I was going to serve this up into a double old fashioned over ice, but I thought I've done most of these drinks. I haven't really done a martini one. So it's not chilled. It's just straight out there. Normally I'd whack this in the freezer so it's chilled, but this is one of my favourite sort of cocktail glasses. Modern America, always get those confused. New Era. Sorry, Nikki. It's the New Era cocktail glass. I use this in like a Nick and Nora glass, to be fair, but it's just slightly a bit bigger than Nick and Nora, but I really, really like it. So we're just going to strain that in there, then garnish with my final passion fruit that I got out from Frona. Again, that is so good. The whiskey note on that. This is why every time I rock out whiskey cocktails, I'm thinking I should go on a whiskey journey, because I love the whiskey note that's coming off on that. And I should find time I should just dedicate like an evening a week just to kind of learn different whiskies and taste different whiskies. But I don't, other things come up. This is fantastic. The tartness of the passion fruit, the Demerara that comes through there off the whiskey, but the whiskey in that top note is so good. Really, really like that. Now look, being completely honest, look at that. That was made, how long's this video been rolling for? Oh, sorry, I've got different files going on. So the audio that just rolls and rolls. 1 hour and 25 minutes. So that was potentially made about an hour and 10 minutes ago. And look at the froth that's still on that now. That is the difference between like a Funkin and the Boiron. Okay, promise you there's no like foamers or anything in there. That's just how it is. Anyway, there are your passion fruit cocktails. If you've got any other passion fruit cocktails that you would rock out instead of these, let me know. Would any of these like take you away from the Pornstar Martini. The Pornstar Martini is still going to be like the GOAT when it comes to passion fruit cocktails. But there are at least, do you know what? I'm going to say all 5 of those I would quite happily drink on another day and finish. But I'm not going to tell you which one. 4 of which I would definitely come back and have a second or a third. Whereas one of them I would quite happily finish and quite happily drink it and think, yeah, I'll try something different now. But I wonder if you can guess which one. Anyway, cheers. I'll see you next time.